Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, be sure to drop your thoughts, feelings, and lessons in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe so you never miss stories like this. Let's get into it. The cruel thing my wife did was use our son like a weapon. She blocked my parenting time, rewrote the schedule behind my back, and told him I didn't come while staring at me like my fatherhood was a privilege she could revoke. Here's how it happened. My name is Jamal Kingston, a black man living in Columbus, Ohio, where winters teach you patience and summer teaches you to value ordinary peace. I manage operations at a regional distribution hub, which means my life is built on clocks, checklists, and follow through. I'm not a loud man. I'm the kind of man who shows up, pays bills on time, and believes family problems should be handled with respect. That belief didn't protect me. It made me easy to manipulate. I met Alana Kingston at a friend's engagement party near Easton. She was polished, clean nails, calm smile, the kind of person who always knows where her keys are. We talked about goals, about stability, about wanting a home that felt safe instead of chaotic. She said she loved men who were consistent. I believed her. When we started dating, she acted like consistency was a gift she cherished. Later, she treated it like a weakness she could exploit. We married 2 years later in a small ceremony with close family and a neat guest list. Alana's mother, Yvette Harmon, hugged me with the kind of tightness that felt like inspection. Yvette was friendly in a formal way, but I noticed she never asked how I felt about anything. She spoke as if Alana was the main character and I was a supporting role. I told myself it was normal. I told myself she would warm up. I didn't understand that Yvette's warmth depended on control. Our son, Micah, was born on a rainy spring morning, and my life rearranged itself around his tiny lungs and wide eyes. I learned how to burp him, how to rock him back to sleep, how to read the difference between hungry cries and tired cries. I took extra shifts when we needed money and switched schedules when Alana needed help. I went to pediatric appointments. I paid the daycare deposit. I did not help. I am a parent, and I expected my wife to respect that. The disrespect started quietly, like a slow leak. Alana corrected me in front of people with a smile that made it sound harmless. If I packed Micah's bag, she repacked it without speaking. If I suggested a bedtime routine, she acted like I was interfering. If Micah called for me, she would say, "You do not need daddy for everything," like my presence was a bad habit she needed to break. When I asked why she was doing that, she said I was overthinking and making everything heavy. Yvette's influence grew as our marriage got tense. Alana talked to her mother about everything, but talked to me about almost nothing. I could feel Yvette's voice in Alana's sentences, sharp, certain, dismissive. If I raised a concern, Alana would say, "My mom thinks you are being controlling." If I asked for fairness, she would say, "My mom says men always want power." Alana never owned her choices. She borrowed Yvette's authority like a shield. The first time Alana used Micah against me was after a simple argument about money. I asked why our checking account kept running thin when my paycheck covered the mortgage and utilities. Alana's face went blank. She said I was counting dollars like a landlord. I said I wanted transparency, not control. She stared at me and said, "If you keep acting like this, you are not going to like what happens." I thought it was a threat made out of frustration. It was a plan stated plainly. The next morning, I came downstairs to find Micah already dressed, his little coat on, his shoes on the wrong feet the way toddlers do when they are rushed. Alana had her purse and car keys in hand. She said, "We are going to my mom's for a while." I asked how long. She said, "Until you learn how to act." I stepped closer, careful not to escalate, and said, "Do not keep my son from me." Alana's eyes stayed cold as she replied, "Then do what I say." When the car pulled away, the house sounded too quiet, like it had been emptied on purpose. I texted Alana that I wanted to see Micah that evening. No response. I called, straight to voicemail. I tried again, and the call went through, but she didn't answer. Hours later, she texted one line, "Stop harassing me." Harassing. That word hit like a slap because it turned my fatherhood into a nuisance. It also told me Alana was building a record, a story where I was the problem. I drove to Yvette's house that night with Micah's favorite animal crackers and a small toy car. I didn't argue. I want to see my child. Yvette opened the door halfway, looked me up and down like I was late on a payment, and said, "This is not a good time." I asked when would be a good time. She said, "We will let you know." I asked to at least say good night to Micah. Yvette said, "He is fine." Then she closed the door softly, like she was shutting a cabinet. Over the next week, Alana controlled access the way someone controls light switches. She would let me FaceTime Micah once, then deny it the next day. She would send a blurry photo and act like that counted as fatherhood. When I asked for a consistent schedule, she would say, "You do not get to demand anything." When I reminded her that Micah was my son too, she would reply, "Micah is with the parent who keeps him safe." She never defined what danger I posed. She didn't need to. She just needed the accusation floating in the air. Micah started saying things no child should be coached to say. "Mommy said you are busy. Mommy said you do not listen." One night, during a rare call, Micah whispered, "Mommy said do not tell you." My chest tightened so hard I had to breathe slowly to keep my voice calm. I told Micah, "You never have to keep secrets from me." He nodded, but his eyes looked worried. In that moment, I understood something devastating. Alana was not just hurting me. She was training our son to distrust me. When Alana eventually came home, she acted like she had taken a vacation, not kidnapped the rhythm of my life. Micah ran to me and held my legs, and I lifted him up and breathed in his hair like I needed proof he was real. Alana watched and said, "See, he is fine." That sentence showed me her heart. She did not care how I felt. She cared that Micah was a lever she could pull. That night, I asked for counseling. Alana laughed and said, "Therapy is for people who cannot handle life." The next escalation came through Micah's daycare. I arrived one afternoon to pick him up early for a haircut appointment I had planned for weeks. The receptionist smiled until she looked at the screen. Then her expression changed. She said, "I am sorry, Mr. Kingston, but you are not authorized for pickup." I thought she was mistaken. I said, "I am his father." She said, "I understand, but the system shows you were removed yesterday." The room tilted. I walked outside and called Alana, and she answered on the second ring like she had been waiting. I asked why she removed me from the pickup list. Alana said, "Because you stress me out." I asked how that had anything to do with Micah. She said, "It has everything to do with Micah." I asked if she understood how serious this was. She replied, "You will learn." The calmness in her voice scared me more than anger would have. It meant she felt entitled. It meant she believed she could erase me with a few clicks and society would nod along. That night, I bought a plain notebook and started documenting everything: dates, times, missed calls, withheld visits, changes made without consent. It felt strange, like I was admitting my marriage had become a case file. But I also felt a thin layer of relief. For months, I had been drowning in invisible pain. Writing it down gave the pain edges. It gave it shape. And if Alana was building a story about me, I was going to build the truth about her. I tried to keep things civil anyway. I sent respectful texts. "Please confirm my time with Micah Saturday at 10. Alana would ignore me, then respond hours later with, "Stop trying to control me." If I asked again, she would say, "Now you are pushing." She wanted me to be emotional because emotion made me look unstable. So I stopped giving her that. I limited my messages to short, polite requests. I let the silence become part of the record. Yvette started calling me, leaving voicemails about real men and real families. She said the court was for people who do not have morals. She said I was embarrassing Alana. I saved every voicemail. I wrote down every date. I stopped trying to win Yvette's approval because I realized Yvette didn't want peace. She wanted hierarchy. She wanted a family system where Alana and Yvette made decisions and I financed them quietly and smiled. Micah's birthday arrived like a personal cruelty. I planned a small party at my sister's home. Balloons, pizza, a cake with cartoon characters. I invited Alana, invited Yvette, invited everyone because I still believed in giving people the chance to do the right thing. Alana said nothing for days. Then, the night before the party, she sent one message at 11:52 p.m. "We already have plans." No details. No compromise. Just a wall. The next day, Micah FaceTimed me from Yvette's living room. wearing a party hat, looking confused as he asked, "Are you coming?" I smiled like my heart was not breaking and told him I loved him and would see him soon. Alana stood behind the phone and said, "Tell Daddy bye," like I was a distant relative. When the call ended, I sat in my car in a parking lot and stared at the steering wheel until my eyes burned. That was the moment I stopped viewing Alana's behavior as marriage problems. Marriage problems can be solved by honesty. This was something else. This was controlled through cruelty. I scheduled a consultation with a family law attorney in Dublin, Ohio, named Camille Porter. She spoke clearly and didn't flinch when I described what was happening. She said, "This is parental interference. Judges take it seriously when one parent obstructs the other without a safety basis." I asked her if I could fix it without court. Camille said, "You can try, but you cannot negotiate with someone who benefits from chaos." That sentence settled in my chest like the truth. Camille told me to communicate in writing, avoid unnecessary confrontation, and keep my parenting consistent whenever I had access. She told me to gather school records, daycare notes, payment receipts, and any proof of my involvement, photos from appointments, confirmations, emails, anything that showed I was present. She said, "Your calm is evidence." I left her office with a folder and a quiet grief. I didn't want to fight. I wanted my family back. But Alana had already turned parenting into a battleground. When Alana received notice of mediation, she didn't ask how we got here. She smirked and said, "So you are really doing this?" She called it a threat, as if I was punishing her instead of protecting my child. She told mutual friends I was trying to take Micah. She posted vague quotes online about toxic men and boundaries. I said nothing publicly. I did not defend myself on social media because a courtroom does not care about captions. It cares about patterns and proof. Mediation failed quickly. Alana sat back like she was above the process. She said Micah needed stability, and I did not provide it because my job was demanding. The mediator asked for examples of my instability. Alana offered feelings. "He makes me anxious. He pressures me." The mediator asked if there was violence, threats, or documented harm. Alana said no, but tried to imply I was dangerous anyway. I watched her manipulate the air and realized she had been practicing this narrative for a long time. After mediation, Alana escalated again by blocking my number for hours, then unblocking it to send one message: "Stop blowing my phone up." She wanted screenshots of me looking desperate. I changed my approach. I sent one message per day through written channels. "Please confirm exchange Saturday at 10. If she didn't respond, I did not beg. I documented the non-response. I stopped chasing her approval and started building a structure around my son. Camille filed for a temporary order, specific parenting days, specific exchange times, and mandatory use of a co-parenting communication app. When Alana got served, she laughed and said, "You think a judge is going to care about your feelings?" I told her it was not about feelings. It was about Micah's right to have both parents. Alana tilted her head and said, "Micah has me." That is enough. That sentence showed exactly what she believed. Micah was her possession, not our child. The temporary hearing happened on a Tuesday morning in the Franklin County Courthouse. Alana arrived with Yvette sitting behind her like a second attorney. Alana wore confidence like perfume. I sat beside Camille with a binder full of documents: daycare payment receipts, pediatric appointment confirmations, messages showing my request for time, and a daycare record showing the date my pickup rights were removed. I did not look at Yvette. I focused on the judge, because that was where the truth needed to land. The judge asked Alana why she removed me from the daycare pickup list. Alana said, "For safety." The judge asked what safety concerns existed. Alana said, "He gets angry." The judge asked if there were police reports, restraining orders, or documented threats. Alana said no. The judge's expression didn't change, but the air in the room did. Camille then presented the daycare's audit record, showing exactly when the list was edited and whose email initiated it. Alana's mouth tightened as the judge asked, "So you made the change?" Alana admitted it, then tried to justify it by saying I stressed her out. The judge replied, "Stress is not a legal basis to deny a parent access absent evidence of danger." Then the judge issued a temporary order, scheduled parenting time for me, neutral exchanges, equal access to daycare and medical records, and required use of the co-parenting app for all communication. The judge looked directly at Alana and said, "Interference will have consequences." Alana did not apologize. She simply looked offended that anyone had limits for her. The order didn't change Alana's personality. It changed her freedom to improvise. She started playing small games, arriving late to exchanges, sending messages designed to provoke, and implying Micah didn't want to go when it was my time. I responded the same way every time. Calm, brief, recorded. "I'm here at the agreed time. Please bring Micah to the exchange point. No insults. No debate." I treated communication like evidence because it was. The first major violation happened on a Friday. I arrived at the neutral exchange location, an open parking lot near a grocery store, 10 minutes early. I waited. Alana didn't show. I sent one message through the app. "I am present for exchange. Please confirm your ETA." No reply. I waited 30 minutes and sent. "This is a missed exchange. I will document and request makeup time." Then I drove home to Micah's empty room and sat on his bed staring at his little socks in the drawer. My body wanted to rage. My mind chose strategy instead. Camille filed for enforcement. At the hearing, Alana claimed she forgot and said Micah fell asleep. The judge asked why she didn't communicate that. Alana shrugged. The judge ordered makeup time and issued another warning. Alana still showed no remorse. She looked at me like I was doing something wrong by holding her accountable. That is when I realized accountability was the karma she could not tolerate. She could endure conflict, but she hated consequences. Over the next months, Micah's emotional state became the clearest evidence of harm. At my house, he relaxed, played, and ate without tension. At exchanges, he looked at Alana's face like he was checking whether he was allowed to smile. He started saying, "Mommy said you are mad," even when I was calm. One evening he whispered, "Mommy said you do not love her, so you do not love me." That sentence cracked something in me. Not because Micah believed it fully, but because Alana was willing to poison a child's sense of safety just to win a fight. I asked Camille what to do when a child is being coached. Camille told me not to confront Alana directly, because confrontation would become Alana's proof that I was reactive. Instead, Camille requested a custody evaluation and asked the court to appoint a neutral professional to assess co-parenting dynamics. Alana laughed when she found out and said, "A stranger cannot tell me how to raise my child." I did not correct her. I let her reveal her mindset to the record. The evaluator, Dr. Renee Sawyer, interviewed us separately and observed Micah in each home. Alana tried to perform motherhood like it was a presentation. She spoke in polished sentences about boundaries and emotional safety, while never acknowledging how her actions disrupted Micah's stability. When Dr. Sawyer asked Alana to describe my parenting strengths, Alana hesitated and finally said, "He plays with Micah," like nurturing was a hobby. When Dr. Sawyer asked me to describe Alana's strengths, I named her organization and attention to school routines, because fairness matters when professionals are watching. Dr. Sawyer noticed the difference. Alana's biggest mistake was believing systems could be manipulated the way emotions can. She attempted to switch Micah's pediatrician without my consent and told the new office I was not involved. But the temporary order required joint access. The office documented the call and noted Alana's statements. Camille subpoenaed the records. On paper, Alana's attempt to erase me looked simple and ugly. A mother trying to cut out a father without any safety basis. It was not a dramatic moment. It was quiet proof. Around the same time, Alana tried to use money as a pressure point. She demanded extra payments outside child support and typed through the co-parenting app, "If you cannot do more, do not expect flexibility." That message was a gift to my case because it showed motive. It showed she was tying Micah's access to financial compliance. When Camille highlighted it in court filings, I felt sick because it was my son's name attached to negotiation tactics. But I also felt vindicated because Alana had finally written the truth herself. When the final custody hearing approached, I was tired in a deep way. Not just tired from work, but tired for being treated like a guest in my child's life. I kept my routine anyway, packed lunches, bedtime stories, laundry folded small, weekend library visits. I built a calm home, not to impress a court, but to keep Micah from carrying adult chaos. I did not want him to grow up thinking love is something you have to earn through obedience. In court, Alana repeated the same narrative, that I was controlling, reactive, and unpredictable. The judge asked for proof. Alana offered impressions and feelings. Camille presented records, missed exchanges, daycare edits, medical interference, and app messages showing manipulation. The judge read silently for a long time, then asked Alana a direct question. Do you understand that obstructing parenting time damages the child? Alana said, I am his mother. The judge replied, he has two parents. That sentence landed like a gavel before the gavel even hit. Dr. Sawyer's report carried weight. It described Micah's tension at exchanges, noted evidence of coaching, and highlighted Alana's inability to support Micah's relationship with me. It also noted my consistency and my willingness to communicate respectfully. The judge didn't speak in dramatic language. She didn't shame Alana. She simply stated that the child's best interest required stability and cooperative co-parenting. Then she issued the order that changed everything. I was granted primary physical custody, with Alana receiving structured parenting time under strict conditions. The conditions were karma. Communication stayed on the app. Exchanges remained neutral for a set period. Alana was prohibited from removing me from any school or medical accounts. The judge ordered Alana to complete co-parenting education focused on eliminating gatekeeping behaviors. The judge also ordered Alana to pay a portion of my attorney's fees due to documented interference. And the judge warned that continued manipulation could lead to further restrictions. There were no speeches, no applause, just consequences written in ink that Alana could not argue with. Alana did not cry. She did not apologize. She looked straight ahead, jaw tight, as if remorse was beneath her. Yvette's face went stiff, her eyes darting like she wanted to rescue Alana with a lecture. But there was nothing to lecture. The judge's order didn't care about pride. It cared about Micah's well-being. Alana walked out of the courthouse angry, still convinced she was the victim. That was part of her punishment too, living inside a story where she was always right while reality kept disagreeing. The first week after the order felt unreal. Micah stayed with me more consistently, and within days his body relaxed. He stopped asking if I was mad at mommy. He stopped watching my face for hidden anger. He ate dinner without rushing. He slept through the night without waking up crying. The biggest change was small but powerful. He started talking freely, without glancing toward a doorway like someone might punish him for honesty. I realized Alana's control had been pressing on him like weight. Removing that weight made him lighter. Alana tried small rebellions at first. Late arrivals, clipped messages, passive-aggressive remarks in the app. But the structure held. Every late arrival became documentation. Every remark became evidence. She no longer had the ability to rewrite reality in private. She could still be a mother, but she could not be a gatekeeper. The court did not remove her from Micah's life. It removed her ability to use Micah as a weapon. That difference mattered because it kept the outcome grounded and fair. Yvette attempted to shame me over the phone. She said, "You are happy now? You took her child." I responded calmly, "Micah is not property." Yvette snapped, "You embarrassed our family." I said, "Micah deserves peace." Then I ended the call. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself to someone committed to misunderstanding me. I went back inside, knelt beside Micah, and helped him finish a puzzle. My revenge was not cruelty. It was stable. Months later, Micah and I built a quiet life that did not depend on Alana's moods. Friday nights became pizza and a movie. Saturday mornings became library visits and a stop for hot chocolate when the weather was cold. Sundays became meal prep with Micah helping by handing me seasonings like they were important tools. The home didn't need to look perfect. It needed to feel safe. I kept my voice steady, kept routines predictable, and kept love simple. I didn't talk badly about Alana to Micah. I didn't need to. The truth was already doing its work. The devastating part for Alana was not public humiliation. It was a private reality. It was having to ask through the app for changes and being told no, politely, because structure matters. It was having to show up on time or face documented violations. It was realizing the lies she told Micah could not survive in a home where Micah felt secure enough to think for himself. It was watching him run toward me in exchanges with genuine joy, not because he was choosing sides, but because he was relieved to be loved without conditions. One evening, Micah sat at the kitchen table coloring while I cooked. He looked up and said, "Daddy, you always come." I turned the stove down and crouched beside him because my chest tightened and I needed to be close to my child to breathe. I said, "Always." He nodded like he was filing it away as a permanent fact. That was the Real comeback. Not me winning against Alana, but Micah learning the truth through consistent experience. Lies can be loud, but consistency is louder over time. People sometimes ask me if I hate Alana. I don't. Hate would keep her attached to my life. What I feel is clarity. Alana never showed remorse because remorse requires humility, and she built her identity around being right. Her karma wasn't a dramatic collapse. It was living under boundaries she could not manipulate, watching her favorite tactic, control through confusion, be replaced by schedules, documentation, and consequences. She didn't lose Micah. She lost the power to erase me. That loss changed everything. My transformation stayed private too. I became the kind of man who doesn't beg for basic decency. I learned to separate love from access. I learned to protect my child with paperwork when kindness failed. I learned to keep my emotions steady even when my heart was bleeding because my son needed a calm father more than he needed an angry hero. I didn't post about it. I didn't announce anything. I just built a stable home and let the results speak quietly. The last time Alana tried to test me, she sent a message through the app that said, "Micah says he does not want to come." I replied, "I will be at the exchange at the scheduled time. Please bring him." When she arrived, Micah ran to me, smiling, backpack bouncing. Alana's face stayed tight, still no remorse, still convinced she was owed control. I buckled Micah into his seat, handed him his snack, and drove away with the kind of peace you can only earn by surviving cruelty without becoming cruel. If you made it this far, you already know consistency beats manipulation every time. Hit subscribe for more real stories like this, and tap the next video on your screen, because the next one is even colder, when the truth gets quiet, but the consequences get loud. The end.